Day 5. The small actions will lead to the big ones. Don't be fooled. If you haven't started dating yet, or if you're in the beginning or middle stages of a relationship, let me give you some advice. Please don't ask the question, how far can we go without going all the way? Instead, ask this question. Will this further glorify God and the temple that He gave me? If you've already had sex, then please don't guilt or shame yourself. You can start over, right here, right now, and I'm going to tell you how. Avoid the small actions so you don't commit the big ones. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing, sis. You're grown. Or maybe you're a 13-year-old reading this, but for those of you who are older and not living with your parents, you're grown. Or you may think you're grown, and that actually may be the problem. You think you can handle making out, touching, petting, and hugging, but you can't. This isn't a PSA on how to be as legalistic as possible, but hear me out. In terms of premarital sex, 3 in 10 teen American girls will get pregnant at least once before age 20. That's nearly 750,000 teen pregnancies every year. Parenthood is the leading reason that teen girls drop out of school. More than 50% of teen mothers never graduate from high school. More than half of all mothers on welfare had their first child as a teenager. Of the roughly 20 million new STD infections reported every year, half are found among young people, ages 15 to 24. Although this age group makes up only 25% of people who are sexually active. The most common STD is human papillomavirus, which is contracted at some point by nearly every sexually active person. In 2018, rates of chlamydia increased slightly, gonorrhea was stable, and primary and secondary syphilis increased considerably compared to 2017 rates. A full quarter, 25.3% of teenage girls who are sexually active report that they are depressed all, most, or a lot of the time. By contrast, only 7.7% of teenage girls who are not sexually active report that they are depressed all, most, or a lot of the time. Thus, sexually active girls are more than 3 times more likely to be depressed than are girls who are not sexually active. The link between teen sexual activity and depression is supported by clinical experience. A doctor of adolescent medicine, Meg Meeker Wright, teenage sexual activity routinely leads to emotional turmoil and psychological distress. Teen permissiveness leads to empty relationships, to feelings of self-contempt and worthlessness. All, of course, precursors to depression. And the last one, a full 14.3% of girls who are sexually active report having attempted suicide. By contrast, only 5% of sexually inactive girls have attempted suicide. Thus, sexually active girls are nearly 3 times more likely to attempt suicide than are girls who are not sexually active. Listen. If you are telling yourself right now that you can handle making out with your boyfriend for hours every day without having sex or doing anything more, then congratulations, girl, you cracked the code. You are officially the first female on earth to have ever conquered such a feat. Please tell me your secrets. Now, for those of you who are serious about your purity, please keep watching. You must be honest with yourself on what you can and cannot handle. If you've never had a boyfriend, then I would advise you to be more cautious than confident in what you do with your boyfriend. When you kiss, hug, cuddle, or do anything for an extended period of time, your desires will get stronger and harder to keep at bay. You will want to do more, and this could include, well, you get the point. Now, don't get me wrong. These things aren't bad if you're married, but this devotional isn't for married women. It's for women who are single. Single includes not married. I don't care if he put an engagement ring on it or told you that you were the one. If you're not married, you shouldn't be doing married things because they will lead you down a path you are not prepared to handle. Let me explain. Have you ever enjoyed a piece of candy but found that the aftertaste was disgusting? That's how lust feels. In the moment, it's amazing, the best thing ever. It satisfies every desire you have. However, after you've tasted that lust, the effects are catastrophic. Guilt, shame, anger, confusion, loss of intimacy with God, disappointment within yourself, division in your familial relationships, and not even recognizing yourself anymore are just a fraction of the things that follow giving into lust. If you don't remember anything else I tell you, please remember this. Lust will embarrass you. What do I mean by that? You see, lust doesn't come from God. It comes from the enemy because it's a distorted and perverted view of love. Love covers a multitude of wrongs. Lust exposes those wrongs and broadcasts them to the entire world. Love is kind and patient. Lust is manipulative and rushed. Lust will have you pushing past your inner convictions for a quick thrill. Lust will destroy you. That emotional intimacy you once had with God, you are now trading it in for a cheaper version, for a grown boy who didn't die on the cross for you. Trust when I say that you want to feel and hear the presence of God when you get on your knees to pray. You want to know that God is behind your relationship and is the one steering the ship, because if He's not, that means you have to do it. And we are not Jesus. We are human. If God has placed a good man in your life, then it is still your responsibility to honor God and not test your temptations. Don't think you can overcome a primal instinct. You can't. However, what you can do is set up boundaries and make sure that you make it extremely hard to cross them. This may mean placing a curfew on your dates, not talking about certain subjects like sex or what you like in bed, not talking on the phone after a certain hour, and not allowing him to come to your private home where your guard is down. If you are with someone that God did not tell you to be with, then I advise you to listen to the Holy Spirit inside you and get out of that relationship right now. I understand you love him, but when you are with someone that God did not co-sign, you will ultimately not experience love, but lust. And lust will turn you into someone you do not know. God is saving you from unnecessary pain and heartache. He wants to fill that void of love so that when the right man comes along, you will already be whole and will recognize him instead of having him walk away because you didn't heal from a previous situationship. Let go of that lustful relationship so you can be ready and prepared for that kingdom relationship. Verses to ponder. Proverbs 6:25-29, Matthew 5:28, 1 John 2:16. Challenge. Today, I challenge you to create a list of boundaries you need to enact if you're already in a relationship or plan to be in one, so you know ahead of time what you feel comfortable with. Consult God, ask a trusted friend, and make sure you follow through on them.